In this video, I'm gonna show you my start to finish process on how I edit this car video. That is music selection, getting the clips to match the music, color grading, matching the color grade between all the clips, and getting ultra smooth shots with stabilization. I'm gonna show you how I export and upload in actual 4K quality and a few other golden nuggets throughout the video. So if you want all the secret sauce, just watch the entire video. To get these clips, I used the Sony a7 IV and Sony 2470G Master Mark II, which is the camera lens I'm filming with right now, together with the DJI RS4 gimbal, the small rig briefcase handle, and the Portkeys LH7P. I will drop all the links to the products I've used in the description box below. And if you want to edit along with me, you can find these clips together with a bunch of other clips for your car edits in the community, link in description. Let's hit it. So for my music selection, I usually just browse through Instagram, and when I find a nice audio track, I save it into a library or in a specific folder, and then I just screen record it. I transfer it through AirDrop to my computer, and I drag the screen recording onto my timeline in Davinci Resolve. So in Davinci Resolve, we're gonna start a new project. Let's call it Porsche actually. Then I'm gonna make a new timeline. I'm gonna change the format. I usually work in a 30 FPS timeline. I mean, you can choose if you prefer to work in a 24 Ultra HD, and we have created our timeline. Then I'm gonna just drag the clips that I've already pre-selected into the Davinci timeline. So we have our clips here. Then I'm gonna drop in my music. We can delete this part right here. It can be that you have to unshackle this button right here, otherwise you select both. So you only want to have the bottom part selected, the top part, sorry, and then we can trim to the desired length. So this is where the music will start, and we set it all the way in the beginning. Yeah, that's perfect. And then I will just lock this audio track so we don't accidentally delete it somehow, and we can also get rid of the audio from the shots. Now let's start with our rough selection, like the order of the shots. Let's say we want to start with a wide shot from the whole car in frame. And then I usually like to mix it up. For example, from wide to medium or close shots. But we don't want to be putting only close-ups next to each other or only wide angle shots next to each other. So we want to mix it up to keep it interesting. You can also mix low angle shots with high angle shots, again, to keep the edit interesting for the viewer. So let's check out our shots and delete the ones we are not going to use. This one looks good. This one also looks good. Let's go for this one. That's gonna be our first one. Then let's go for like a medium or a closer shot. We have the wing, the headlight. This one is for later. I'm not gonna use this one. Might want this one as my second shot, somewhere around there. So we might already want to trim it a little bit. It's gonna be our second one. Then let's go for the third one. Maybe this one. We're gonna fine tune it later. Don't worry about it right now. This is just our selection and the order of the shots. I'm not going to use this one. This one is nice. So we go from the wide angle full car in frame, close up from the rim. Then we have this high angle tilt down shot from the headlight. This one is nice. Let's see which part we're going to take. Let's go for this one. We will reverse this one in post later. And then we have the wing shot that we are going to fine tune a little bit later. So that's the order of the shot. Push in full car, rim, headlights, sort of reveal shot, we're going to reverse it, and then this wing shot. So now we want to get the best part of the shot, and we want to trim it to match the beat of the music. So let's start with the first one. So of course we want to trim this part here because it's wiggling, it's just not good. Here starts already good, so I'm gonna trim it here. But first I'm gonna select them all, and I'm gonna change the speed to 50%. So we shot these in 60 frames per second. Our timeline is 30 frames per second. So 50% of 60 frames per second is 30 frames per second, which matches the 30 FPS timeline nicely. If this doesn't match, that's why you end up with jittery looking videos. So make sure this matches. So for the first one, okay, and then we want to trim it. Let's zoom in a little bit. Here you see where the beat comes in. So I want to trim it actually just here. And usually I trim it one frame earlier, because in my experience, then the transition with the next clip comes in nicer. That's just my experience. So this is how it looks. Okay, looks good. So we're gonna stabilize and color grade later. This is just the first cuts and have chosen the best parts of every clip. And now we're gonna do the exact same thing with all the other clips. So I'm gonna check here where our gimbal starts to work and our shot is smooth. So somewhere there looks good to me. Yeah, this looks good actually. And then let's check it out. Yeah. And then here again, we're gonna cut the clip to the music or split the clip here. I have set my keyboard shortcut for split clip on my number 1. That's just an easy shortcut instead of always having to trim or to get the razor blade here. So then I'm gonna delete this one. And again, I have set it to 1 frame before the beat comes in here. So for the best possible and smoothest transition. Okay, let's move over to the next one. Okay, so this is what we have up until now. That already looks good for the cuts. Now, this is where the magic actually happens. Now we are going to select one clip that we are going to color grade, and then we are going to match all the other clips to this color grade. It's actually pretty easy. Let me walk you through. So I'm gonna select this shot here. I'm gonna like choose the hero shot and then the hero frame as some sort of starter point for all the other shots. So here is the car nicely in frame. It has these surroundings here. So this is the perfect shot to start with our color grade. So then we can move over to the color page right here. I'm going to gallery, power grade, and then I'm gonna drop in my own power grade. Don't worry, I'm gonna fix the look of it, but this is my node tree that works pretty well for my personal experience. Let me quickly guide you through the nodes here. So here's the denoiser function, which I use to get rid of noise, but I don't only do it at the end because it's pretty taxing on your system and it will give you slow playback. Color space transform, I set it to RE white gamut 3 log C3. This works pretty well for me and I like how the colors look a little bit better than the Davinci white gamut. Then we have the white balance here, which I changed with the chromatic adaptation. Then I'm gonna show you how I fix some exposure. I have a basic S-curve setup here. This is the saturation bumped to 2.0 in red, green, blue. Here I change my sky background, usually the grass and the car if needed. Glow I don't use. Then I have a vignette setup, a gradient setup, the LUT, which is built into Davinci, which is the film look D65. Then I desaturate my blacks. Halation I'm not going to use this one, and then I have my sharpening to 0.47. So this is the standard node tree that you can also download in the community. This is drag and drop. And now I'm gonna show you what I do exactly to get the look that I want. So from the bat, we see that it's just too blue. No worries, we can solve this in just a moment. Let's say we set it to 6500, or you can hover with the slider and see what you like. Usually I just go from left to right and then I just land somewhere, wherever I want to land. Let's say 6000 is where we are gonna go for. Next up is the exposure one. Let's just reset it completely. I'm not gonna change too much here because I kind of like the way this looks. Sometimes I go to the HDR here and bump up the overall exposure like this, make it a little bit brighter, because also usually when you watch something on your phone or on Instagram, it's even darker than you have imagined, or it's darker than your actual image that you see right here. So that's why I sometimes bring it up a little bit extra, just like this. And then to give back some density to the colors, I usually lower my gamma a little bit. And if you watch here the car, it will bring back like the density in the car. And then depending on the image, I will higher or lower my lift. So we have some information in the dark part. So if we lower it, we see that it's going away. And then let's say we're going to put it to plus 0.1 for this one. And for me personally, this already looks nice. So the S-curve, I'm not going to change anything about it. I usually just leave it as is. This one also. And then here, what I like to do is, for example, when we have grass here, I usually like to bring down that saturated green and give it more like to the brown tones. So that's already built in my node tree. If we go to curves, you see when I go to U versus U, I drop it here and then a dot appears here and then you can slightly change it. Let's say you want to have the grass greener, you can change kind of the colors. I just like it just a little bit like that, because otherwise it takes too much away the attention, which should go more towards the car. And then to kind of bring back some life in the colors of the car, like in a subtle way, I go to my car node right here. And here we can see that the car is mainly green and some cyan. So if you select this button, you see what you're gonna affect when using the sliders. So here you can bring back some color and saturation, some density of the color, let's say in the greens. And usually I just bring it up slightly. So here you can see what it does. So something like this. And then same for the cyan here. You can see in the windows. Also, this is gonna change, but I don't really bother about it. In the windows, it gives a subtle tint, and also here, that's before and after. I like the way this looks. So then we have here, this is my sky node actually. Oh no, I think I like the way the sky looks. If you, for example, want to change the sky, you can just check, okay, the blues here can bring back some density. For now, I'm gonna turn it off. I like the way it looks as is. Then for the vignette, we go to this tab right here. This is standard set in my node tree. Usually I just put it on the car or the area from the car that I want to affect. So what it does basically is it's gonna darken the outside of your vignette. It's a world of difference. And this is how it looks before. This is how it looks after. You might want to change it. I do like to make it big enough, and I like to soften it completely, because the goal is that you don't actually see that there is a vignette. You want to have it very subtle. So something like this looks good for me personally. And if you have a lot of movement in your shot, you can always track it with this button right here. Let's just give it a shot. There we go. And then for the gradient, I usually like to kind of make the lower part of my image a little bit darker. So it's the same principle. We have the gradient wipe right here, and then I'm gonna set it here. And you can make it softer, just like this. And then what I did here was just drag down the offset somewhere like here. Again, you want to make it subtle, not too aggressive. So something like this. And I would say that's it for this shot. Denoise, we're gonna do it completely at the end. And now to match our color grade to all the clips, what I'm gonna do is we go to the color page, select clips, and then I'm gonna select this one, command this one, this one, this one, and then I'm gonna hit right click, apply grade. Then you have the same grade exactly copied from this one. Of course, you have to make some changes in exposure, in vignette, in gradient. So let me walk you through. So let's turn off this for a moment. We are going first to the exposure. Usually I just change the exposure if necessary. I'm gonna bring up the exposure just a little bit. I'm gonna bring down my gamma a little bit. And then I have to change the vignette, because here the shape is also completely different. Something like this, good for me personally. So it draws more attention towards the rim. And we might also want to track this window. There we go. Let's move over to the next one. But first, I'm gonna reframe this shot. So we're going back to the edits page, and I'm gonna zoom in like this, and I'm gonna set it more to the right. So we can set it somewhere on like the rule of thirds. So we have some empty space here, but not too much. And we have this part nicely in frame. So something like this. And now we're gonna make it ultra smooth. And we're gonna do that with the planar tracker. We're gonna set to translation, and then we're gonna draw a mask. Make sure you connect it here, that it's connected. We're gonna hit set, and then track backwards, and then forward. Then we're gonna hit steady, and poof, extremely smooth. Now it can be, if you use this feature, that you have black borders like this. Just zoom in your image or reframe it to get rid of the black borders. So go back, we zoom it in. Okay, looks good. So now let's continue the grade from this one. Let's start with the exposure. I'm gonna bring it down a little bit because it's just too much. Something like this, better. And then we're gonna fix the vignette. So here I actually want this part to be a little bit darker. Something like this looks good. And again, we're gonna track it just like this. The gradient stay. And for the rest, I think that's fine. Let's move over. This one looks good. Let's just check the vignette. It's nice. I'll make it a little bit bigger. And then this one. Let's change the vignette again. So it darkens slightly the outside parts here. Looks good. So let's see what we have right now, and then we are going to stabilize the shots to get them ultra smooth and to get out like the last little shakes. Then we're gonna add some spice with some dynamic zooms to make it a little bit extra interesting. And then we're gonna denoise, export, and then I'm gonna show you how you can actually post in 4K today on social media. Here we have some lag in the playback because of the fusion effect. That doesn't matter because we know our cuts were good. Now let's do some super basic and simple stabilization. I set my stabilization to translation, smooth to somewhere at 0.55-ish. Stabilize. There we go. I'm gonna do the same here. Here we set it off because we already used the planar tracker stabilization. Same. And same. So now to make it a little bit extra interesting, I'm gonna add a small dynamic zoom to this one. If you want to change where your zoom starts, you can just hit this one. The green box is where it starts, the red box is where it ends, and if you want to swap it, you can just hit the swap button. So here it goes from the zoom in to zoom out. I'm gonna make it a little bit less aggressive and reposition just like this. Here I'm gonna also add a subtle dynamic zoom, but I'm gonna swap it right here. I'm gonna make it a little bit less aggressive. Then for this shot, I'm gonna also make a subtle dynamic zoom, but not too strong. So it kind of reveals the car even more. Yeah, looks good. And here I'm gonna do a zoom in. So we're gonna swap. So we go from green to red, but I'm gonna make it a little bit less aggressive. And here we still have to stabilize. I think, no, it's already stabilized. Last but not least, use the denoiser function to get rid of some of the grain, because you can clearly see we have some. I'm gonna turn it on. We go to the denoiser node here, or tab, and you can already see from the bed with a minor adjustment that it's cleaning up your image nicely. So you can even increase this. I have it set to 2 frames you can choose 3 frames. That means Davinci checks 3 frames before and 3 frames after to detect what is noise. The more frames, the better, but it's also more taxing on your system. But usually 3 is good. I set it to better. And here usually I just make sure they are linked, and I set it to about 15, maybe less, depending on your image. So you see it has cleaned up my image completely. There is a downside. If you compare here, for example, the floor, it will also mess up your floor a little bit. So you don't want to be using it too much. We go from noisy to pretty clean with just minor adjustments. So then we go to the other one to see if it's necessary, and we can simply copy this one and set it here, and then we copy the exact same settings. And together with the sharpening node, you bring back some of the sharpness that you lose because of your denoise. Now for your export settings and 4K uploads, let's say we are going to export. I set it to MP4 H.265. Timeline resolution, usually I set it to 2210 force highest quality at the render queue. And while this is rendering, I invite you to join the Car Video Academy, which is a community for automotive filmmakers. We do live calls with some of the coolest automotive videographers and creators, Caden Creative, Showcam Visuals, DC Exposures, Ronin Projects, Meraki Visuals, you name them, they will come up and we have a blast. We learn from them. And on top of that, you're just in a group of like-minded people who want to grow. You can get feedback and all the good stuff. You can try it completely for free. Link in the description. See you inside. So now it's exported. I'm gonna send it to my phone with AirDrop. And here we have it. And then I just rotate it. Some people say you shouldn't do that. I always do it like this and I've never had a single problem. Then we hit done. Then we are going to the Edit app. You can download this app for free. It's from Instagram. We're gonna hit the plus sign, gallery, select our video, add, and here you select 4K HDR export Instagram. And you will be able to share it 4K quality on Instagram. And if you want to learn exactly how I filmed this car in one of Belgium's biggest theme parks, watch this video next.